In this lecture, we are going to discuss about how to create the geometric model. In ANSYS, there are multiple softwares which is used for creating the geometry. I will introduce two or three softwares, and basically for research purpose, we will use Design Modeler. And for single time purpose, or for example, if you are going for an industrial project and it's only a one-time work, you will go with the ANSYS Space Claim. And ICM CFD and some other types of modeling softwares is also there, and you can also import external geometry that is created with the help of some third-party softwares. For example, let me say you can create it with the help of AutoCAD or Creo or CATIA, and you can export in a common standard data exchange format, and you can import with the help of this softwares. And in order to start our lecture, I'm going to drag this geometry from component systems. And if you drag a static structure or any of these systems, you can also get this geometry option. But I'm just taking it from the component system. And if you right click the geometry, you can see there are two options. By default, there are two options. One is new design modeler geometry, then new space claim geometry. So first of all, I'm going to start new design modeler geometry. First, we will discuss about design modeler because it's when you compare with the space claim, it is a bit difficult. But for a research purpose, this is extremely useful because you can create parameters and you can also get at the previous records. That is, what are the operations done to create that object. So, in order to do that, so it's open. The design modeler is open. You can see it's consists of the same file menu and some other options also there. We will discuss each and everything in detail. So, from this toolbar, if you focus on this, is just a typical save as, open, start new. All these options are provided. But apart from that, you can see some icons here with a green indication, which is actually used for selection, which means if you concentrate on if you focus on that icon, you can see this is meant to select the corners or the nodes. We cannot say nodes right now because no nodes are created here, but you can consider it is for selection of a corner, and this is for selecting an edge, this is for selecting a surface, and this is for selecting a solid. So these are the options, and right now it is selected a surface, so you can select the surfaces of a solid body. And these options are utilized to manipulate the view. You can rotate the view, move the view, you can zoom in and zoom out. You can also do both zoom and zoom to fit. All these zoom options and rotate options are available, and you can also set the isometric view and the new section plane. You can cut the geometry to find out, to see what is inside that geometry if the geometry is complex. Then display plane is also provided, and then display model is also there, display points also there. So whatever the required one, you can enable or disable, not an issue. And this is a particular function which is used to create the screen parallel to our face. When we draw the 3D geometry, I'll show what is the use of this option. The next one, this is face coloring and edge coloring and freehand sketch. What are the lines and thicknesses given to details of the drawings. We're not going to discuss this because it's a graphical appearance things. And if you are really interested in appearances, that is aesthetics are important, you want to work with that, you can use these options. But normally a FEA analyst or a FEA designer won't consider these areas unless otherwise you are particularly interested in a complex structure, that is some area you are interested, then we will activate or we will use these options. And the next window, it's actually the most important window or most important toolbox in this design model, that is, this is the plane. So if you select XY plane, you can see the XY plane in the graphics window, and ZX and YZ plane. So which plane is selected, that is shown here. And before that, I actually forgot to explain the area of this interface. Okay, these planes you can consider it as three kinds of drawing sheets, because Normally, if you start any geometry or if you want to create any geometry, the general approach is that you will create a sketch and you will do some 3D operations in order to convert this 2D sketch into 3D one. That's a general approach. It's not only followed by ANSYS, it is also followed by most of the 3D modeling softwares. If you take AutoCAD, if you take Creo, CATIA, SolidWorks, everywhere we will create a geometry, we will create a 2D sketch and we will do some operations over the 2D sketch in order to create the 3D geometry. And there is also other method, that is direct modeling is also there. You can generate the shapes from shapes directly by inputting some parameters. So it is also there, but most of the situations we will use these kinds of features. So our primary requirement is to create a 2D sketch, and after that we can do some 3D operations. So these are some of the 3D operations, and we will discuss each and every one in detail. And right below this tree outline, you can see details view. So when you select any option in the tree outline, its details will be provided or shown here. And right next to it is graphics window, where we can see our graphics model. And one more thing, you can also take a print preview, or you can directly take the image from this area. And if you select something here, the informations will be shown here. For example, suppose you are selecting a line, its length will be shown here. If you are selecting a face, its area, volume, the respective informations will be provided here. And here we can see the units. So these are the main interfaces of this geometry design modeler. And next we are going to discuss how to create the sketch and how to do the operations. So these are the 3 drawing sheets, and if you want, you can create multiple planes with the help of this option. If you want to create a new plane, you can use this option. And you can also create a new sketch. If you actually don't explain what is a sketch, so we will come to that. Just understand, this is the button for creating a new sketch. And next we are going to model it, and first I will explain what is the use of how to create a sketch to create a 3D geometry. So I am selecting this XY plane, and you can see there are 2 tabs. The first tab, it is sketching tab. The second, it is a modeling tab. So I am selecting the sketching tab. So I'll get an interface just similar to AutoCAD. So it consists of 5 toolbars. The first one, draw toolbar, modify, dimensions, constraints, settings. Draw toolbar is nothing but it is used for creating the shapes, curves, circles, polygons, all those things you can create with the help of draw. Its meaning, if you look into the English meaning of draw, to create the drawings. Okay. Once the drawing is created, you can go to modify. Suppose you want to trim, or you want to fillet, or you want to extend, you want to copy paste. All these modifications options can be done with the help of this modify toolbar. The next is dimension. This is very important toolbar. Once you created and the drawing and modifications are done, you can assign dimensions. The only difference between the other software and here, dimensions here it is used for editing purpose, not for any visualization purpose. Here if you give any dimension, which means that you are going to edit that, or you want to change the dimension. That is the meaning of assigning dimensions to something. So if you are assigning 2 dimensions at the same place, it will create an error, constrained error, because you cannot edit 2 dimensions simultaneously at the same point, or you cannot edit you cannot assign 2 dimensions for the same entity. So that's why it will create an error. If it is for visualization process, this doesn't matter. You can give any number of dimensions, it won't matter. But here it matters because it's only used for editing purpose. So general, which means if you have a line or something, it will automatically detect what kind of dimension is that. But normally we don't use it. We can use it once you are expertise with ANSYS Design Modeler, you can use it. But if you are starting, you just use this horizontal, vertical, length, these dimensions for linear dimensioning. Horizontal means you must show 2 vertical entities. That means 2 vertical lines or 2 points you can show. And vertical means you must show 2 horizontal entities. Inclined, you just to show what is the entity which is inclined between, and you can put a dimension between that. And radius, diameter for circles and semicircles, arcs, all those things you can use these dimensions. And if you want to change the angle, you can use this angle dimension. And this semi-automatic means ANSYS will assign most of the dimensions automatically. And if you want to edit some dimension, you can use it. If you want to move, you can use it. If you want to animate, you can use it. But we don't use this one because it's for visualization purpose. We are only interested in the change and assigning dimensions. And the last one, it's a constraint. Suppose you want to assign a constraint to a sketch. For example, you want to make a line straight line, so you can use this constraint option, horizontal. Or you want to make a line perpendicular, you can use it. If you have two lines and you want the two lines are equal length, you can use the equal length constraint. And if you want to assign equal distance between these lines, you can assign it. So such kinds of operations are done with the help of constraints. Settings is also there. It is used for grid creation of the grids. Actually, it is used for measurement. Sometimes some people are interested to make drawings with the help of grid. So once you click on the grid, you will get the grid spacing. You can control the grid spacing and major and minor grid spacing. And suppose you are setting this spacing as 1 unit. So if there is 20 units, you just need to select the 20 grid cells. So that's one way of drawing. Some of the people are interested in it, but for our class we don't use grid. If you are interested, you can practice it. Okay, next I'm going to create a drawing, and before that once I said this tool is an important tool. If I click this tool, this is a selected plane. This XY plane will be oriented to the screen. I'll show you. If I click this one, it will orient. And then I'm just going to create a rectangle and polyline. Polyline is you can create a series of lines, and polyline you must end it. There are two options, closed end and open end. Closed end means it will close start to end, or open end means that this will be just like that. Whatever you created, it will be there. Okay. Now additional line, now closing between start and end. And polygon and rectangle and circle. We will discuss these things in detail, that is what are the options provided here. But just for this lecture, just you practice it, and if you have any doubts, we will go into the next lecture in detail. And modify, suppose you want to make a trim, just click this trim. There is no closing entity, but here is one closing entity. So if I click here, it will trim. This is also you can trim with the help of it. And if you want a fillet, you must give the dimension. So if you give the fillet, it will create the fillet. If you want a chamfer, you can create the chamfer. So such options are provided here. Then dimensions, this is the important one. If you want to give horizontal dimension, you must give two vertical entities. So I want to assign a dimension to this line. So I'm selecting this line and this line. Automatically my dimension is there, and I can also edit this dimension. So here in H1 it is provided, so I'm just changing this into 20, so it will be extended. And similarly for vertical, you need two horizontal entities. I'm going to select this line and this line. So my horizontal dimension is there. I'm going to change this into 10. It's already changed. Suppose I want to assign a distance between these two lines. It's actually a horizontal dimension. So I'm selecting horizontal. I'm showing two vertical entities. And you can also control that distance. And if you want to give the radius, you can give the radius here. So it's 1.25. I'm going to change this into 2. It's a little bit bigger. Similarly, you can give the diameter, but for diameter, no problem. There is one thing. You can give diameter, this one. So this is diameter. You can also change it diameter. So these are the options to give dimensions and to create your sketch in order or the project. If you have the project, you can create your dimensions in order to suit with that sketch. Okay, I'm stopping for right now. Next we will discuss in the next lecture. We will discuss why constraints are used and what are the operations, 3D operations which we carried out to convert this into a 3D model.